Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started now. Again, thank you all for joining our webinar, Identify and Simplify the 4 Phases of Your Document Lifecycle. My name is Katie Beck, and I am on the Marketing Ops team here at AccuSoft. Today's presenters and product experts are Steve Wilson, AccuSoft's VP of Product Management, and Dan Lee, AccuSoft's Product Manager. All right, with that, I'll pass it over to you, Steve, to go ahead and get started.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so today we're going to talk about the 4 most common phases of a life cycle that documents travel through in an organization. Along the way, Dan's going to present details about each of these phases, from capture and organize to review and collaborate, then on to workflow and approval, and finally to publish and share, and at the end we're going to wrap it up, do a review, and then as Katie said, we'll have a question and answers period at the end. Okay, so let's talk about the problem. So AIM every year does surveys to companies from different industries as part of their industry watch. As part of AIM's yearly survey as their industry watch, they've currently found that in this most recent, that more than half of the companies surveyed indicated that they're currently working on new enterprise content management strategies to optimize their document processes, where only 14% feel that they've actually completed these initiatives, and 52% of the respondents say that their company actually has to use 3 or more ECM systems to solve all of their document complexities. Also, 62% of those say that they're still strongly reliant on file share systems even outside of that ECM. So the survey goes on to show that consolidating these multiple content silos and applications, as well as enterprise search, increased usage of mobile devices, and secure access outside of the firewall are the top drivers for these initiatives. AIM even goes as far as to say by 2020 things get worse, where content is everywhere and in everything, but content management is increasingly invisible, meaning content management is happening in many different places outside of the organization and inside, and we have to be prepared to follow our users and keep that experience inside of the organization, because users have more and more choices these days, from consumer apps like Dropbox and Box.net, where they can upload their documents, whether that's a process that they're supposed to do or not. They're using these personal accounts to do that because it solves their problem. So they're increasingly using these other applications as pieces, to solve pieces of their day-to-day document problems. Of course, for organizations, we start to lose the ability to secure and track that important content, and it's our job as solutions providers to pay attention to where our users are working and make sure that we provide that same great user experience in the solutions that we want them to use to manage the life cycle of their content on a day-to-day basis. So what we're going to talk about today is really the 4 most common stages that we see as part of that document life cycle. There are different pieces to the life cycle not shown here, but this is really where AccuSoft provides the most benefit in the tools that we help our customers. So Dan's going to present some use cases along the way to talk about capture and organize again, on over to review and collaboration, workflow and approval, and publish and share. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dan to start walking us through.
All right, thanks, Steve. So we'll start off at the very start of this process. So as Steve mentioned, there's kind of 4 kind of overview or primary phases of the document lifecycle, and the first one of that, of course, is capture and organize. So everybody in their organization today has a variety of documents, and those documents are produced and originate from a lot of different sources, and that can be, with the advent of tools like tablets and mobile devices, people could be sending in and creating content from a variety of different devices. It can also be content that's coming in from scanners, paper content that's scanned into a workflow, or content that they're bringing in from social media. So the sources vary greatly, and so that can also provide a lot of challenges in terms of what's the proper way to capture and organize and create this content in a way that we can use it in the organization. A lot of times content that's brought in from paper is scanned in on a multifunction device or something, and when that content comes in, they want to be able to take that content and make it searchable so it can actually be used inside of their electronic content management systems. A big part of this also is as the documents come in is, how much automation can be built into the process. And traditionally there's a lot of kind of manual workflow around moving these documents through the process, and the ability to implement some kind of document routing rules that can be based on things like recognizing characters, extracting text from the documents, or reading barcodes to properly route those documents. And that can be used to then, of course, take that document and sort it into the right categories or folders within the organization or within the system that they're putting the document or the content into. And along with that is kind of that auto categorization. So saying, what kind of content is this and how do we categorize it? And what other information can we gather from this content, such as doing some semantic tagging where we're looking at the terms in the document and coming up with some tags that can help us clarify this document for search later on. And as I said, oftentimes these contents being captured into some kind of an ECM or BPM system. It could be something also that you're using within your content CRM system as well, or your web content management system. There's a lot of places that this content could be going. And sometimes, and often is the case, is what we hear is that the ability for these systems to talk to each other and to effectively transfer content and information between the systems can be a challenge. So how do we solve this problem? So we kind of mentioned some of these things in the previous slide. A common thing, especially for that content that's coming in from a scanned device, anytime someone's filling out a form and if they're submitting that form via mail or bring it into an office or somebody's, it's a payment slip or something, that's information that needs to get into the electronic system. And this is done through OCR, or optical character recognition. So taking that image file and extracting the text from that. So now we've got useful information that can be searched and used for sorting of the documents as well. Barcodes is another common way for routing and gathering information on documents. You can see this oftentimes with a document. You can have information related to the document itself, but more times it's going to be related to an account or some specific information about the form and the person who filled in the form. Some other things that are very helpful, of course, is semantic tagging engines, things like Reuters Calais, where you can route that content. Once you've maybe OCR'd the document, you can take that content, run it through a semantic tagging engine, and have that come back and recommend tags that can be applied, or auto-apply tags to a document that can really enhance the searching, filtering, and filing of that content. As for, how do people handle this? So there's a couple different ways that this can be solved. A common way is one-off solutions. So you'll see pieces of software out there that do very specific things like reading the barcodes, reading the OCR, whatever that piece of the workflow or life cycle is. And that's one way to approach it, and piecing those things together. Another way to do this is through adding functionality to existing software, either through software development kits or through integration to cloud-based RESTful APIs, which is really becoming a more common way to do this, because it really provides you with the ability to take those disparate systems and tie them together in a very seamless way. So we've got our first use case here. So here's an example of a customer that actually indirectly used some Accusoft technology to solve this problem. This was created by a third-party software developer that used some of the toolkits you'll see here, but their problem was that they're receiving payment slips from customers via email. So this is, or via mail. So this is a very common, right? This is a pretty common thing that happens, especially in the auto finance industry, where people are filling out those slips and they're sending a check in to pay for their car payment. Well, that text that comes in on that payment slip is going to have things like the payment amount, the person's account number, and things that have to be updated in their system. So what they wanted to do is build a solution that could scan and extract the text using OCR, They wanted to feed that information into the database to automatically update that person's account. They also wanted to be able to identify, what account that goes to, of course, and they can do that through the barcode. But they also have to be able to provide the ability for both the customer and the customer service reps, the people working at the finance institution, to be able to see like an image of that payment slip and the check that was submitted, right? If they ever have to refer back to that, so being able to view that, right in their browser or right in their software, and they were able to convert it to PDF. To accomplish this, they used some AccuSoft barcode and OCR technologies, as well as our PDF Express technology. Review and collaborate. So this is where we start to get into a lot of the meat of the document workflow. So as the content is added to these systems, it's often the case now where it's not just one person that's going to be creating that content and then downloading it, saving it, giving it to somebody. There's going to be some more kind of annotation, commenting, collaboration going on within a document where one team member maybe creates the document, but then maybe 2 or 3 people are going to come into that document live, and they're going to want to be able to create some markup or make some suggestions and have some discussion around the content within that document. And it's one of the things that the technology today really affords teams is this ability to kind of interact and work together. Part of that, of course, is highlighting and suggesting changes, and the types of content or the types of files can be varied. They could be everything from Word documents or PowerPoint. It could be image files. Again, it could be scanned in files, PDF files. It could be a lot of different files, and so that becomes a challenge for organizations who want to be able to offer these type of solutions with those different type of files and have this kind of collaboration. So what happens today is oftentimes the solutions that exist require somebody to leave their native environment, and this can be a challenge for enterprise organizations as well, because they may not be comfortable having people go outside of their firewall or outside of their organization to access tools to create this collaborative environment. The other problem is with training of personnel. Just having an inconsistent user experience and not being able to really track what's happening within the organization and within the whole process in terms of the life cycle of these documents. So the kind of desire out there is for consistent viewing and collaboration where people can, regardless of the file type or regardless of the ECM system that they're using, they can come to some kind of a consistent collaborative environment where they can work on all of these files. So how do we solve this problem? So the most kind of common and popular way to solve this problem today is through HTML5 document viewing tools. So these I say document viewing tools, but really they've expanded to become much more than that. They're now collaboration tools. So they're giving you the ability to not just view those different document types in the browser, but the ability to use those web-based tools to do that annotation and commenting that we talked about. And again, being able to do that from any device, because more and more people are using a variety of devices. They're using a tablet has become a lot more common in the workplace for that person who's sitting in a meeting that needs to be able to access a document and make that annotation or take that note. They can do that with an HTML5 technology. This also gives the organization back some control over the documents, because using the HTML5 technology, it's no longer required that they download that document locally, right? So now we can retain a master copy of this document on the server. So it also gives the organization some ability to control who can access it and what kind of tools do they have access to. So if I wanted to give one set of users just the ability to view the document, but another set could print or download the document, I have that kind of control through these type of tools. And you'll often see this integrated into areas like SharePoint, Office 365, or the CRM systems where those documents are living in the organization. So we have another use case here, and this one's around review and collaborate. So in this case, we have a solution provider for an e-discovery product, and what they're doing is they're showing a large number of documents. In fact, I think their documents were around about 5 million plus documents that in each specific project that they were working on, each e-discovery project. There was 5 million or more documents on average. And so that becomes a lot of documents to be managing. They're converting these documents, they're extracting text from these documents, and all of these things take a long time to convert, long time to load the documents. And so they're looking for a way to kind of speed up that part of the process. Also the ability to quickly search those. We're talking about a use case in the review and collaboration space. This is around a solution provider in the e-discovery space specifically, and their challenge was that they have a large number of documents that are part of each one of their e-discovery cases. That number of documents can be as much as 5 million documents or more, and so being able to search through those documents is very important, but it can also take a long time for them when they're gathering those documents, for converting them into a PDF or searchable format, and being able to load those quickly and easily into their system for searching and collaboration. So they're looking for a solution for this. They also wanted to be able to mark up those documents, of course, right? That's a very important part of the process, where they could go in and highlight text within the file, make comments, strike out information, maybe redact some information. So all of that stuff are part of what they were looking for in their solution. And to do this, they reached out to Accusoft and chose the Accusoft Prism Content Connect product. So this gave them that HTML5 viewing capabilities, as well as the annotation and redaction tools right in the browser. So the next step is workflow and approval. So up until this point, many of the things we've talked about have been in organizations for a while. People have started to use these tools, but now we're seeing more and more people looking towards to be able to do kind of automated workflows, enhance their workflow of their document lifecycle, and increasingly integrate some kind of approval process into that workflow. And this includes things like being able to track revisions, right? So as documents are being created and changes are being made, you see this often in collaboration tools, like any of the Google Docs type things or Office 365, where you see changes being made to a document. You can see the history of that. It becomes very important. Also, being able to not only just mark up the document, but maintain the original document is part of the challenge, right? They want that audit history. They want to be able to go back and see what that original document looked like. And that's especially important when we talk about saving signed revisions of documents. So we want to be able to see that when somebody signed it, what was it that they signed? What was the content of the document at the time that they signed the document? It's also important to be able to do this across the organization and outside of the organization. So that often includes the ability to share links out of the organization to people to view those documents, maybe even mark it up and sign those documents remotely. So if I'm working with customers or third-party contractors and I want to be able to send out some content to them for them to view, I want to make it so that they can not only approve or sign off on something, but they're not required to have any special software on their end to do that. It also gives me the ability to retain control over the document. So, this is something we see a lot with our customers, where that's one of the key things for them, is they really want to be able to retain security and control over their document, and then they want to be able to, in the background, trigger some workflow actions based on things that have happened with that document, based on the fact that a certain person has maybe signed it, maybe that moves it to another part of their workflow. So how do people solve this problem? So, a common way to do this is third-party solutions. So they're going out, they're not using in-house developed stuff. They go out, they find some workflow process tools. Oftentimes those are integrated into their solutions that they have, but they're built specifically for workflow and approval, or signing of documents, maybe specific things that they're looking for. They can also have some platform-dependent tools. If they're an office environment, or maybe they're using SharePoint, there could be some dependencies there that are going to be requirements for them, and they'll reach out to third-party integrators who do things like this, like Nintex or K2, people who might have some kind of integration that can hook right into their system to help them set up this workflow. And then sometimes they'll look out and they actually want to build the integration directly into their existing systems. So, you know, and how do they do that? And they look out for things like the software development kits or the RESTful APIs to add that kind of functionality. And the other thing you might see is industry-specific solutions. So sometimes there's specific workflow that may be required in the legal process, and so there'll be a legal, you know, document workflow system that they'll use in their specific environment. So that can vary based on the industry. But oftentimes there's also small to medium businesses that maybe can't afford those enterprise solutions. So the challenge for them becomes, how do they solve those problems? What are the things that they can do to address these kind of workflow problems, create the efficiencies, integrate workflow or document approval processes into their environment? And so how do they solve that? So we have another use case. This one is, again, around workflow and approval, and this really falls right into that small to medium business example. So here's, in this example, we have a marketing ops platform. So it's a company that developed a platform specifically around marketing operations, and they have, you know, hundreds of customers using this platform, and they, you know, these customers are uploading all kinds of different ad creative, ad contracts, different proposals, those type of things, and they want to be able to view and share those content or those documents out to their customers of the ad creative agencies and the people that they deal with. And they don't want to necessarily give all those people access to their platform, but they want to be able to share as needed the documents that they need as part of the process when they're building a campaign. Today, the way they do that, or before they were implemented the solution, was they were emailing documents. So again, they were losing a little bit of control. They were losing some of that history of the document. They'd have to download it, attach it to an email, send it, and hope it didn't get caught in the spam filter. Hopefully somebody didn't accidentally delete it. They don't have the history. And they also weren't able to just automatically save those, you know, revisions or the different signed versions back into their platform. So the solution that they approached us for was they wanted to integrate our file manager and viewing tools. So what they've done, again, in this case, is, you know, they wanted this right within that one user environment. They didn't want them going out to a third-party tool to have to do this. So they were able to take the file manager, integrate it right into their platform, which gave them the ability to not only view those documents within the platform, but to click and share out to their customers, have their customers sign it and save it and have it come right back into the platform, and it was saved as a revision, so they had complete revision history. So that brings us to publish and share. So as part of that cycle, you get down to the, you know, we've got the content in the system, we've collaborated, we've, you know, maybe come up with a final document. At this point, we may want to do something with that document, hopefully. Maybe it's just for our records, maybe it's something that we're publishing, or maybe it's something we're sending out to a customer. Either way, we still have the challenge of the multiple document types, right? So these organizations how do we deal with all of these different document types that we're using in our environment, and how can we make it so that we can share those both publicly and privately out to our customers or within our organization, retain control over that? How can we do that from ECM, CRM, CMS, BPM systems, right? All the different systems that are in place that have documents can become pretty unwieldy pretty quick. And so that can be a real challenge for organizations. You know, it's also important to have accurate PDF renditioning, especially if we're saving those PDFs as part of our archiving process. Sometimes they're also looking to combine multiple types. So we often see customers who are working on proposals that might have, as we said, like a Word document for a contract. Maybe they've got some image files that are part of that as well, and some Excel spreadsheets that have some data. And they want to send that out as a proposal. They want to send that as one file. So being able to easily convert that into a PDF into one file that they can send out. And again, this kind of recurring theme of mobile and being able to distribute and view those documents and interact with those documents across multiple devices. So how do we solve this problem? So we've already talked about our HTML5 document viewing technology. That is, a big part of how the people are solving that problem today. So that means being able to render multiple documents right in the browser across multiple devices, right? The ability to search and highlight the content, as we've seen in the collaboration process as well. And this can be true for things that we've published. We've finished the document, we've published the document. We may still want to get feedback. If it's a white paper, for example, maybe we want to have community discussion around that document. So there's a lot of different things that can happen there. Oftentimes sharing is, we're sending a link to somebody, right? We want to be able to take the document, again, just share the link. We don't have to email them the whole document. It can be more efficient for transfer. It gives us control. It could be something that's shared through a third-party site, something like an edocker.com, where you can upload documents about your business or upload documents that are important to you in your research, and you can get them out there, share them, and interact with the community around those documents. And then, as we said, merging documents into a single PDF, it can be very important as part of this process as well. And then, of course, having those documents in a properly renditioned way where we can save them for long-term archiving. So our use case around this is in the publishing and sharing area, is a medical research site. So this research site has a lot of papers that have been written by medical industry, doctors and experts, and these are medical research papers that they want to, those things are put together to publish and share and share with the community. And so they needed to upload a variety of document types, make them viewable and searchable on their site. Those documents are usually for them are going to be Word, PowerPoint, PDF, Excel type documents, and they didn't want their customers to download the documents, and they didn't want to require them to have any special software. So, because they want to be able to maintain control over who has the ability to download and print. So you see this a lot with, especially with companies that are publishing out content that may be their proprietary content or something where they want to watermark that content, or they want to be able to prevent who can download it. Maybe it's a premium access type thing. So they're looking, in this case, this customer was looking to have that kind of control. And they serve customers worldwide, so they need to be able to do this in the browser and across multiple languages to multiple people in the world. And they solve this using our document viewing technology. They're using our cloud viewing in this case that allows them to use the HTML5 document viewing tools to have that kind of control over the document and publish it to millions of people worldwide. So just to wrap this up, we talked about the document lifecycle. The 4 primary phases, as Steve mentioned at the very start, not necessarily all-encompassing of everything that happens, but a good high-level overview of what happens in an organization on a day-to-day basis around capturing those documents, organizing them within your systems and in your organization. How do we review and collaborate and interact as a team on those documents and work in a modern environment on multiple devices? How do we integrate workflow and approval into that process? And what are the tools that can help kind of be the founding cornerstones to us building automated workflows? And publish and share the content and getting it out there to the people who are ultimately the end users that are reading and using that information. We talked about some use cases. If you want to get more information, you can always visit us at Accusoft.com. You can get free trials of the software and these components that you can plug into your applications as well. And it looks like it's time for Q&A.
Thank you, Steve and Dan. We have received a few questions that I would like to have you answer. And as a reminder to everyone on the webinar, if you have any questions, please go ahead and submit them through the chat window. Our first question is, what are the minimum requirements for me to view documents on my phone without having to install software? Can I sign documents on mobile?
That's an excellent question, and probably one of the most common questions we hear. Yeah, so oftentimes, as we said, with the HTML5 viewing technology, people want to be able to consume, interact with these documents on any device, and really the only requirement there is a browser that, again, supports HTML5. So most modern tablet and handheld mobile devices will support that today. And then that does, of course, include the ability to sign. So if your device has a touch-based screen, right, you can easily sign those documents. And if you're using a laptop or a desktop, you can sign using a stylus-type tool or with a pad, or you can use your mouse for signing.
Awesome. Question number 2. We use Sugar CRM and have a lot of documents tied to accounts. Is there a way to view and sign those documents without downloading them?
So yeah, so in the Sugar CRM environment, as we said earlier, with a lot of the CRM systems, they're going to have documents attached to accounts, maybe part of their proposal sales process or support process. So yeah, there is actually we have a module specifically for that for Sugar that allows you to the different document types that we talked about. Just dozens of document types available that you can just open up right there in the viewer, which Sugar is a web-based tool. So it does give you that ability to do that. You can also again, just like we said with in the last question, right from within the Sugar environment, you can open up those documents and you can sign the document and then download it as a PDF with that signature burned in.
Thank you, Dan. Our next question is, we use a lot of images in our website, which can hinder performance of the site, especially on mobile. Can we automate some image processing that will make our images load faster without sacrificing our image quality?
Excellent. That's a good question. So yeah, we see that a lot. As we mentioned in the one use case where we have the medical research company, they've got a lot of documents on their site. They also have a lot of images. And with people that have a lot of images in their site, of course, they want to be able to render those images in a high quality way without, they want it to be fast and load on all the different devices in high quality way, but they also want it, they don't want to lose any quality. So we do offer, we have both toolkits and RESTful APIs that can be used for compressing those images to keep them at that high quality, but also make them load a lot faster. And so we get, feedback from people a lot on this where, they're using our compression tools and they're saving, they're cutting down the size of that file by 60, 70% without losing any quality. So that's really helping them speed up how fast they can deliver that content. So yeah, there is definitely ways to do that. As for the watermarking, there's also some automated ways to do that as well. You can use a RESTful web API to just pass those documents, either individually pass them up and just have them watermarked with whatever watermark you want, or you can use our workflow tool where you could actually kind of streamline that a little and send up the image, compress it, and watermark it in one fell swoop, and then have it come back to your system already ready to go.
Excellent, thank you. I think we have time for one more question. As a reminder, any of the questions that were not answered right now in the Q&A, we will send in a follow-up email to the group. Our last question is, document security and protection is important to me. How can I automate watermarking my documents?
Okay, so it seems like watermarking is an important topic today. Yeah, so with document security and protection, maintaining control over those documents, again, when you use the web-based technology for delivering those documents, you can control easily who can download or print that document, and that's great because you can do that based on different permissions. When you hook it into your whatever system you're delivering the content from, you just tie it into your authentication, and you can control what features they have, and that's great in terms of protecting who can download the document. But again, we talked about mobile devices. Somebody can walk up to the screen, they can take a picture of some content. So the watermarking piece becomes very important in that as well. And yes, the watermarking can be automated. Again, as I said, it could be part of the passing something through a workflow tool to apply the watermark, or even just in the HTML5 viewing session when you're rendering the document on document load, you could apply a watermark on the fly.